Hey everyone, it's Elliot here again from Meat School Barbecue. Today we're doing pulled lamb, as you see here, with a little herb ricotta and our beautiful Meat School Barbecue oak seasoning. Definitely is a good chicken seasoning, but we're going to show you what to do with lamb today. Jump on, check it out, and we'll get stuck into it. So basically all we're going to do is just going to flip her over, and we're only going to really just trim off any nasty little bits like this. Just like that. And that is it. It's just a bit veiny. There's a few blood clots in there. We don't want that. And then just this real thick stuff on the front here. Just trim it out. Just like that. Aside from that, we're pretty much going to leave it because all these bones are going to protect it during cooking. And all the fat's just going to add more flavour. And then when we're shredding it, any big lumps of unrendered fat, we can just get rid of those as we go. But during the cooking, it's almost going to like baste itself, all right? Just got a little bit more blood there. So I'm just going to take that off. The bone. Just like that. So we'll just get rid of that. I'll feed it to the dog. Dog's not here though. All right, so for our binder, we're just going to use some olive oil. Give it a little rub down. Rub down. Don't need to go crazy. We'll just go with olive oil. It's just to make the rub stick. We don't need to really add any flavour. It's all within the rub. So this lemon and herb rub's really good. It's got some dried lemon in there. It's got plenty of pepper in there. Great with anything to do with chicken, lamb, good on fish. Nice and light, it's not spicy. And it's got some really, really good lemon flavors going on there. So what we're gonna do, flip her over, and we're just gonna quite liberally all over this side. Windy out here, not great for rubbing meat. And we're just gonna pat that on there. We don't really need to get those bones so much, so we're just gonna avoid those for now. Flip her up on the side, give it some more. Again, we don't need to be worrying about being too liberal with this because it's a big lump of meat. We want to get the seasoning on there. Flip it over, and then same again. Now what we want to remember is not to go too crazy. Like while we want plenty on there to season all the way through, with these rubs, we can add a little bit at the end as well, just add a little bit extra flavor, so we can do that. So that's it, super simple. All we've got to do now, we'll put that to one side, let that rub adhere. Once that sits for a good hour or so, I generally like to rub it and leave it overnight. That way I know it's definitely really gonna sort of marinate almost and get right in there. So we'll put this to one side. All right guys, so while the lamb's just resting with the rub on it, we're gonna make a really, really quick pickle. This pickle goes great with pretty much anything. And you can pretty much pickle most things with it, vegetable-wise. So we're just gonna do some pickled red onions today to go with it. Lamb's really, really fatty. So basically we wanna make sure that we've got plenty of vinegar, plenty of acidic things to cut through it. Because that's what puts a lot of people off lamb is the fattiness. Well, fine if you balance it with the right things, it comes out real good. So in there, we just put 100 grams of apple cider vinegar and red wine vinegar. I've got a few sprigs of thyme. We've just got a couple of garlic cloves. We're just gonna knock around. Probably just go with 2, be fine. On a high heat, just to get it going. It's got 100 grams of brown sugar, and that's just gonna go in there right at the end. So we've just got some red onions here. I picked out nice little ones. We're gonna just cut little rounds out of them. I'm just gonna take these ends off. Okay, so all we're gonna do now is we're gonna do this fancy on the mandolin. If you don't have a mandolin, don't stress, you can just cut it with a knife, but this just makes life a little bit easier. Be careful with your fingers, obviously. Just like that. And probably just, for the purposes of this, we'll probably just do 2 onions, will be plenty. Just like that. Okay, so this has come up to the boil. So sugar straight in, that's gonna knock it off the boil. So while that's coming back to the boil, we're just gonna break these up a little bit. Just like this. That's up to boil, comes off the heat. And then while it's nice and hot, we're just gonna pour that straight over the onions. Now it's not gonna cover them completely, but they're gonna sort of wilt a little bit. So we'll just put them to one side and whack a lid on there. Alrighty, next job. We're gonna make a start on our herb ricotta. So herb ricotta is really simple. We're gonna use a lot of the same herbs throughout today, just because they all go really well with lamb. So we'll get straight into that. Okay, so first of all, we've got some dill here. Dill's really good with lamb. Again, it's just another thing that's just gonna help break break that fat a little bit. So we're just gonna add this up a little bit. We don't want to go crazy fine with it. And I don't mind a few of the little baby stalks in there as well. They've got really good flavor to them. So just like that, absolutely fine. So that can go straight in our bowl. Again, all the recipes will be in the description below. So just look there how much we're using. In here, this is just some parsley, some mint. Again, so you just want to get it all tucked in. Nice like that. Nice sharp knife, and we're just gonna shred it up. And that's good. Again, we want it to be kind of, you know, thick. You kind of want to come across little chunks of that as we go. And it's also gonna add a really nice color. Okay, so we're gonna zest our lemon. So we want zest of 1 lemon, but we're probably gonna reduce it to half. And again, this is, you know, you've got your ricotta, got the acidic pickles, which definitely need a stir. Got some acidic lemon. It's all gonna really help break up our fat. Just like that, that's okay. And she goes. Split lemon in half. And just straight through your hand. Just trying to sift out the seeds. Look, if you get any seeds in there, just pick them out. We're just gonna give our pickles another quick stir, and what you'll see is, like I was saying, they've started to wilt a little bit. So you can see that that pickle's now covering them. They're starting to change color. I don't know if you can see that there, but they're starting to get a really cool little pink color to them. And once these are pickled, you can chuck them in a jar and they'll live in the fridge. I don't even know, probably for like a year. Crazy. So just make a big batch of them, chuck them in the fridge. Don't worry, they're always there. All right, so now we're gonna get our ricotta mixed in. So we're just gonna get, I don't know, about a teaspoon of these becquerels. So these are green peppercorns. They're pretty intense, but as far as getting that acidic sort of flavor in there, they're really good for that. So all I'm gonna do is take the back of my knife and just run across them like that, just to crush them up. And then I'm just gonna run my knife over them a couple of times, just to break them up a little bit. Because again, they can be quite intense, but they're gonna add a really good acidic flavor. Green peppercorns are awesome with lamb. So I can go in there like that. Okay, so now everything's in there. We've got parsley, we've got mint, we've got dill, lemon zest, lemon juice, and just our green peppercorns. And now we're just gonna give it a little mix up and put it to one side. So you kind of want it to look pretty herby, I guess is the word. And again, if you don't like certain herbs, you can swap them out, put whatever you want in there. I probably wouldn't put any hard herbs like rosemary in here. Any soft herbs pretty much should be good. Okay, so we'll put that in a little here. So you'll see now the consistency we're going for. Just like that. Okay, so next up, we're gonna make a little salsa verde. Salsa verde is great. It's just basically mixed herbs, bit of oil. We've got a little bit of mustard, a little bit of vinegar, a little bit of garlic to go in there as well, just because it's nice. So we basically got basil, mint, and parsley, some garlic, some red wine vinegar, and just some whole grain mustard and some olive oil. That's all we're gonna put in it. So again, we're gonna chop these up. So again, we're gonna tuck it all in, just like that. When you chop herbs like this, just make sure you're nice and sharp. You don't want to bruise them, because they'll start to taste like, I don't know, compost. And we don't want that. Okay, so just got some parsley. Oh, I'm gonna chuck a little jalapeno that was hiding in there as well. Forgot about that, just gonna add a little bit of spice. So again, same scenario, just tuck her in, run your knife over it a couple of times. So we've got all the herbs chopped. Again, they're pretty rough. We just ran them over with the knife a couple of times. We've got mint, basil, and parsley in there. So now we're just gonna get our garlic. Now we wanna either chop it really, really fine. Don't use the pre-bulk garlic paste, it's no good. This kind of stuff. So I'm just gonna get it on the microplane here. And that's just gonna give us a really nice fine paste. And we don't want too much, because it can be quite overpowering, raw garlic. Just like that. And just with the back of the knife, get it off. Straight in. And then we're putting a little bit of jalapeno in. Love jalapeno. It's got really good spice. We are gonna take the seeds out. So the easiest way to do that, I'll show you, is just grab a spoon and just bury them out. Just like that. I don't mind a couple of seeds getting in there, but if you do want to get them all out, get them all out. Get them just straight out. Just pop. And this we're just gonna run a nice dice on. Just run our knife over it and then just across this way. Just like that's fine. And she goes. Now with the oil, we've got a couple 100 grams of olive oil. And just like this is also good to sit a couple hours. Probably gonna add a bit more, wasn't quite enough. You basically want to do it until you can just see that it's starting to saturate everything. That should be good. So in here, we've just got some whole grain mustard, a little bit of red wine vinegar. This is what we use to season, pretty much. Probably use all that. Now we're just gonna give that a good mix up. Again, I want it like nice and chunky. I don't like these kind of sauces to be too oily. I almost like it almost like a salsa, if you will. Cool, so we're just gonna put a little pinch of salt from our very tiny little thing, and I've got very large fingers, so thanks to that wife. So just season to taste, really. So just a couple of pinches, just like that. Give it a good final mix. And again, you want to sit this aside in the fridge for a couple of hours, but definitely make it on the day. You want to keep those nice and fresh. That's where you're going to get a full flavour out of them. So that goes to one side. So next job, we're going to go over to the smoker. We're going to get the lamb on, and then we're pretty much ready to go, really. We've just got to get the lamb cooked. Okay, so the smoker's just below where I want it, temperature-wise. We've want to probably creep that up another 100 degrees or so. Because this is such a big cooker, though, and to get it on, that temperature will go down just a little bit. Then we'll fire a log in, and that'll spike it back up, and it should give us about right. We just need to keep an eye on it. Depending on what you cook on, I'm running this about 250, 275. We're gonna roll this for about 5 hours. So we've got a good bark set. Bark set, we'll wrap it, and then we're gonna finish it, okay? So just in like that. Again, placement, your smoker, you know where best, but my firebox is here. I like to put it just next to it. With lamb, it's got plenty of fat. You wanna get that heat up, so don't worry about running it pretty close to the fire. So we'll put that to bed for a bit. From here, we're not gonna touch it. I just like to leave it. We don't need to spritz it. We just want that bark to settle really nice, fat to render out, and then just get it cooked and finished, and that's it. We don't really need to do too much of it from this point. So this now, we're just gonna get that wrapped straight back on the smoker. I'll show you a couple mean tips as well, if it is that you wanna have a party and not all the stress. So at this point, while the bark is set, it can still be delicate, so we don't wanna really throw it around too much. We're just gonna come under it, grab it, straight on like that. Now, when you're wrapping, always be mindful of where your bones are, because if you try and pull anything too tightly over the bone, you're gonna pierce your foil. Also, because it is on the bone, I'm gonna double wrap it as well, just in case we get any little pierces or breaks. So I'm just gonna come over this side, like that, and like that. Now I know all the exposed bones on this side, so I'm gonna feel those out. And we're just gonna pinch around then. Go under. And now we know that our bones are covered and we've not pierced anything. Flip it around. And then our bones on the bottom, we're just gonna feel them out again, and then nice and gently just squish it up. Okay, and then now I'm actually gonna flip it up, and then we can just go again. So that's now double wrapped. And with this one, we're just doing this to protect it. So we've pretty much got that, just give it a final little squeeze. You can see it's all well wrapped, we've got no juices coming out anywhere. You want it nice and tight, that's gonna make all the steam and all the juices stay within it, and that's really, really what you want. So from here, you can put it back in the pit, but the whole point that we're doing now is we're getting the smoke off it. So the idea of putting the foil on is so that we put the juiciness and the sort of tenderness back into it without all the smoke and drying it out. So if it is that you've got a party on a Sunday, smoke this on a Saturday. When you go to bed tonight, chuck it in the oven nice and low. Just let it run all night. It's lamb shoulder, it's not gonna overcook. If you put it in at 120, let it run for the evening, wake up in the morning, take it out, rest it for the day. Late afternoon, it's ready to go. So next we're gonna make a little salad, because apparently you should have salad with smoked meat. Okay, so we've just got some lettuce here. We're probably just gonna use half of it for today. You can double this, minus it, whatever, take it away, don't care. So we're just gonna shred it. It doesn't need to be anything special. You kind of want it a bit chunky. It's gonna give the entire dish a bit of crunch. Okay, so into our bowl, I've just gone with the half lettuce. It'll still feel good for you people. Doing a party, you can just do more or less, add whatever you want. I've got some nice capers here. Now I've gone with pretty small little capers. I'm happy just to chuck these in whole. Just a fair few. Again, coming back to the acidity and the saltiness, really, really good with lamb capers. And then what we're gonna do next is I'm actually gonna not really make a dressing as such, because we wanna go super simple. I've just got some olive oil here. And all we're gonna do is, this is a little bit of pickle from earlier. We're just gonna put in just enough. Again, you can do this to taste. So just like that. And there you go, you've got a pretty simple vinaigrette. It's gonna be nice and sweet because we've got sugar in there, got your vinegars, and then it's gonna tie in nicely with the flavors. Just give it a mix. It's not gonna emulsify, but just mix it up so it's through there. The last thing to the salad, we're just gonna We're just gonna shred up just a little bit of spring onion. For the purposes of this. All right, so right at the last minute before we serve, we're gonna dress this. So we've got our dressing here ready to go. Salad's there, it's just literally spring onions, capers, lettuce, and then we're gonna whack in a couple of fresh herbs. I've just got some parsley and mint. Give it a little mix up, and that's it. That's all it needs. And again, this is all designed just to cut through that lamb. Okay. All right, guys, so the lamb's finished. Again, the internal temp got up to 98 degrees, I keep saying that. What we're gonna do now, this has had a good rest. So generally, you know, if it's gonna take, you know, 7-8 hours to cook, I'm gonna rest it for at least an hour or two. You can do it in eskies, you can wrap it in towels, you can do all that stuff. I just leave it on the bench with tea towel over it, it works fine. So we're just gonna peel it open now. So I've got a tray here, and this is gonna catch all the juice and stuff because we want all that, because that's all flavor, right? So we're just gonna bring it out, just gently like this. It really wants to go, eh? Just like that, and you can see it's just ready to fall apart. And that's what we want with pulled meat. We want it to obviously come off the bone easier. Because we're gonna shred this up and have it as like a dish, we want it to be kind of chunky. We're not gonna absolutely shred it like to put in a roll or something like that. So basically all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come up under here, and we're gonna give this a little twist, and there you go. Lamb bone clean comes out. There's our blade bone, take this bone out. Really want to make sure we get all the bones out. The key with the lamb ones is getting these rib bones out of the back and all these sort of tiny little bones here. So just make sure we got that out. Once we know that now I'm comfortable there's no bone in there, we'll put that to one side. So then you've got along the back, there was those rib bones that we had from earlier. So again, we'll just run our fingers up the back. You can see how easy it is to handle. This is still hot, like don't get me wrong, it's still, like if you serve it, it's still gonna be nice and warm, but you can handle it. And then we're just gonna check again, make sure we've got no bones. All this goes to one side. So we pretty much want chunks kind of this size. That's fine, what we're after. So now we've got all of our juice, all of our lamb within this one tray now. So I'm just gonna give it a little mix. Just like that. And you can see it's just crazy, crazy juicy. And then one last thing I'm gonna do is gonna take a little last bit of rub, one last little bit of rub, and we're just gonna give it a tiny little sprinkle. Just like that, just to give that final little blast of fresh sort of lemon flavor in it. And that's that. All right guys, so what's left to do now is plate it up. Who'd have thought we'd have a floury plate on a barbecue channel, but here we are. So we've got this ricotta, just give it a little stir up, because it's been sat a little bit. This is also better kind of bring it out of the fridge an hour before you're gonna serve it, because then as soon as the lamb hits it, it's not gonna go cold. Just a couple of dollops like that in the middle. Right, so a couple of dollops in the middle of the plate, and we're just gonna spread this out, and this is what the lamb's kind of gonna sit on. Okay, so now we've got our ricotta laid out. That nice, beautiful lamb. Pick her up, straight in the middle. Just, you still want to see the white of the ricotta through it, so just a nice little mound in the middle there. Get a couple of those good bits, just like that. Right, so now our lamb's in there. Next up, we got our really nice pickled onions. So we're just going to drain these off a little bit. Don't be shy with these, they're super sweet, nice and vinegary, they're going to really cook that lamb well. We're just going to dot them around all over the top. Like this. Lastly, that Salsa Verde, nice and herby. So you can see now we've got the creamy, we've got the pickle and the onions, we've got that fatty lamb, and then we've got this nice acidic, nice and earthy Salsa Verde. We're just going to kind of dot that around, nice and easy. And then just as a last little touch, I've got some dukkha. This is just like a cashew nut and sesame seed dukkha. We're just gonna sprinkle that all over the top. Don't be shy. And the last thing we have to do is mix up our salad. So always leave the salad right to the last thing. Again, go with as little or as much dressing as you like. I like quite a lot because I don't like the taste of lettuce. Give it a little mix. You can use your hands, but just be gentle when you mix salads. That's your plate. There you go, so that's just a little caper, sort of herb. Just a little salad there. All right, guys, and there we have it. We've got our pulled lamb with our meat school barbecue lemon pepper seasoning. We've got the herb ricotta, salsa verde, pickled onions. This is good great with some flatbreads as well, but this is more for summer when it's hot. You know, you've got your fatty lamb, you've got some acidity from all your lettuce, everything else, then you've got that creamy ricotta just to bind it all together. So enjoy, guys. Hope good luck making it. Thank you.